I think with art and with just anything that feels like a hobby, it takes a lot of strength and courage to turn your hobby and passion into a full-time job. Hi, my name is Krisha. I'm currently a graduate student at Pace University. I'm pursuing an MS in Marketing Analytics. Previously, I was working in qualitative market research, and I also have some experience in business development and social media. Throughout school, I have been into art. I've been in, I used to go for some classes. I have given 2 art exams back home and done pretty well on those till I realized that I have a knack for art and I have the creativity for it. I think I draw a lot of my inspiration from having a need to make the real world more tangible, and not just in the form of photos, but in the form of art that would actually be remembered by me or someone else. So a lot of paintings that I do, you'd see that they're photos that you or I must have taken, but they're made into art. So there's a digital art piece that I've done where it's just a normal picture of a sunset, but I've made it into art with a few gouache techniques on Procreate digitally. Otherwise, I used to also have, when I was doing traditional art, I used to also have a series where I did the same thing. I took photos of people and made them into art with different mediums that I use. So I think it's a lot of my inspiration is from wanting to have the real world, but more in an art form and making everything art. I do have an art page, however, I have always been a little inactive on that, just out of time constraints and out of not wanting to face the criticism that might come along with social media. When I started selling my paintings, it started off with that agenda where I could customize paintings for people the way they'd want it. So somewhere along my undergraduation, I used to do paintings for offices. I've done a lot of wall paintings that I've commissioned. Eventually, I realized that I couldn't monetize on it completely. I think art is a very niche space. I think to actually make profits out of art takes a very long time. It's a very long process. You have to be extremely established in your industry. When I was doing my traditional art, it was really, really fun, and it has its own sense of calm. My shift to digital art consisted of a few different points. Like, traditional art initially got very messy. With traditional art, you have to go through the whole phase of setting up your workstation and then cleaning up after, and I think that got too much of a hassle, and it's not that mobile in nature. The mobility comes with digital art, where you can carry your appliance anywhere that you're going. You can work in public places, you can work in private spots without having to clean up after or making the space very messy. So I think that's one of the major reasons that I also switched to digital art. The cost of paints and the equipment, the brushes, the different mediums, eventually that's also a lot. So I thought that just investing in a digital platform would be a lot more efficient in the long run as well. I think traditional art and digital art can never be compared. They're very different forms of self-expression in themselves. Just as you would learn different skills, working with different techniques in a traditional art setup, you do the same thing with digital art, where you're constantly learning and adapting. With digital art, despite using the software for over a year, despite selling my artwork, it's still never enough, because there's such a even after doing all of this, I think I know only 80% of the software. There's always 20% that you're going to still have to discover every now and then, especially when it comes to software changes, because it's digital in nature. There's the app is constantly rolling out new updates and softwares to kind of make your life easier, but it also comes with a very big possibility of you constantly exploring more things. I don't think the two mediums could ever be compared. They both have their own place in the world. They both exist, independently of each other, and I think they can't be compared.